Alright guys, welcome back to another Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter card game review. Today's game we have up on the table is a game made by Sean Howard. It is the game called Unlocked, the Mansion of Mana. This game is a game for 1 to 5 players. It takes about an hour to play with ages 13 and up. This game is basically a rune collecting game where you're going to be drawing runes from a deck in different ways that you would like, and then you're going to be placing these runes in front of you on the table. Now you can have 2 sets of runes in front of you on a table, and when you do so, you can acquire keys based on the sets you've collected. And there's also going to be a plethora of keys on the table, and they're going to be different rows of keys. And if you can acquire 1 key in every single row, matching with your color, you'll win the game. And you try and do that before all the rest of your opponents. As well as every single key in those rows is going to have a different ability, like have an extra card in your hand, or draw an extra card, or steal cards from your opponents. They do certain things. And as you collect those keys, you can use those abilities either once in the game or periodically throughout your turn. And like I said, if you can acquire every single key, or a key, in every single row, you'll win the game. Alright, let me go ahead and show you Unlocked, the Mansions of Mana. Alright guys, so this is the game Unlocked, the Mansion of Mana. And as you can see, there's a plethora of keys here and rows, as well as runes, and the rune cards placed in front here, and a discard pile. And each player is going to have 4 different rune cards they draw from the top of the deck, as well as 10 of these little crystals here. And these crystals will be used whenever they collect sets of runes to acquire these keys. And when they do so, they discard that set and place a crystal on one of these key cards. Alright, so that's basically the idea of the game, or the look of the game, as well as each player is going to get one of these handy dandy little player references that tell you all the different keys and what they do, as well as the turn order. And that's basically the setup. On a player's turn for Unlocked, it's very, very simple. First of all, if you have any keys, which you won't at the beginning of the game, but if you did, you could use those abilities, and if they refreshed, you can use them again the next turn. Afterwards, you would draw rune cards from the rune deck. Now you can draw 3 rune cards from the deck, or you can draw 2 in any different order, such as the discard pile on top of the discard pile, or from the runes that are laid out, as well as on top of the deck. So you could choose to draw 1 from the discard and 1 from the play area, or you can draw 3 from the stack in whatever order you would like, similar to Ticket to Ride. The next thing you do is play runes from your hand. And you'll play these runes in order that matches these keys here. So for instance, this key has 3 different symbols here on the side of it, the left-hand side of its card. And if you played each single one of these runes in order, you could acquire this key and place one of your crystals on it. Finally, after you're done playing runes, you're going to go ahead and discard cards from your hand equal to the amount of cards that you currently are allowed to hold. In the game, basically, you can have 3. However, if you have keys that increase that amount, you could have up to 4 or even 5. Alright, so the first phase of your turn involves using your keys. Now, there's tons of different keys in the game, and as you can see, these 2 right here, they do different effects. This one, for instance, if you had these 2 symbols and you played them, sacrifice or discarding them to the discard pile, these runes, you would acquire this key and place one of your little crystals on this little check mark here. And then you would see what the card does. Well, for instance, here is an infinite symbol, which means the card lasts forever. And this little play immediately symbol, this little clock, means you have to use it instantly. And then this is the effect up here, and the effect says -2 to your hand, which means the rest of the game you have -2 cards to your hand. Well, that's negative. That's a negative effect. Well, some of these have positive effects. This one is negative because it has less requirements to get these runes, and as you know, you need to get all the runes in order to win, up 1 in each row. This one over here is the mirror key. And this one has a little check mark on it, and it has a reusable and a symbol for stealing. And this means whenever you get stolen to is when it happens. So every time somebody steals from you, you can then use this key card here, and instantly, and then you can steal from either them, or from the deck, or the discard pile. And there's all these other plethora of keys that do different things, provided that you already have them unlocked. If you have no keys unlocked, you simply skip this phase of the turn. The next phase of your turn is to simply draw rune cards. You can either draw 3 from the top of the deck, or you can draw 2 in any order you would like. Now, they all have different colors, which represents different meaning for them as far as getting keys is concerned. You don't necessarily have to have the colors, but if you have all of the same color and responding to all of the same kind of runes, for instance here, if you had all these 3 colored runes here, that you could play them, you'd be able to use this key, as well as any other key next to it in that same row that is of equal or lesser value, which is pretty cool. So collecting of the same color is important. Also, simply drawing these cards and putting them to your hand will end this phase. But you have to remember to replace the key cards here. Now, or the rune cards here. However, if you don't draw from here, and you simply draw from the rune deck, drawing your 3 cards and putting them in your hand, Then, at the end of the turn, you get rid of one of the runes and replace it with a new rune. The next phase of your turn is pretty simple as well. It's playing rune cards. Now, for instance, if I already have maybe 2 runes on the field, maybe I have this rune right here and this rune as well, and they're face up on the field, and maybe I have this rune right here, and it is in my hand. I would then play this on top of this stack, and you can have 2 different stacks in regards to 2 different keys. And once you have completed that stack, for getting this key right here, you would simply discard these cards here and take one of your little crystals and place it on this card. And that's how you acquire keys throughout the game. Afterwards, you simply go to the discard phase. The final step of your turn is the simple discard phase. You have 4 cards in your hand, then you have to discard down to 3. However, if you have any keys on the field that say you can have an additional card in your hand, you can keep that card. After you discard, you pass it on to the next player, and they begin their turn following the exact same order as I just explained, until somebody acquires all of the keys down the columns, or at least one of every key in each column, and that person will then win the game. Alright, let's see what I think of it. So Unlocked, the Mansion of Mana, is a fairly interesting game, and it has a lot of interesting concepts. Now, you're basically doing something similar like you would in Ticket to Ride, where you're collecting certain sets and placing them down, and instead of routes, you're going to go ahead and get these keys. And also, these keys will give you actions, which is really, really cool. Some of the keys are very detrimental, but they're easier to get than others, whereas the other ones that are really hard to get provide you with some serious benefits. Now, obviously, your objective is to get all of the keys as fast as you possibly can to get all the way across, and that would thusly free your uncle or grandfather in the game. It's got an interesting little story that's basically involving you're trying to free your grandfather from this prison, and in order to do that, you need to acquire these certain keys. Another thing I forgot to mention in the game review was these little cards here, Steal a Rune, as well as Swap a Key and Add a Key. And these are from the Rune deck that you can actually draw them from, or pull them out of the discard, or whatever, however you'd like to do that. And they give you different benefits, so they're like small powers. Swapping a key on the table with another key, or adding a new key onto the already pre-existing keys, as well as stealing a rune. And if this is a really nasty one, stealing a rune, if you steal the top rune of a player's set, obviously they have to collect the set in order, and if you steal one of their first runes, the entire set falls apart. And then you can use that rune to your benefit, or you might even just do it just to remove their likelihood of getting that key. Now, a couple things that I did think about the game that were a little negative was, first of all, there's certain keys that are very, very powerful, and it can be a huge detriment to you if they get played on you early in the game. Such as there's a certain key that makes you forcibly have to collect that key. And if everybody's trying to pull those rune cards from you so you can't get that key, you could be stuck for a while, and one of my friends was for quite some time. However, everything else in the game flows really well. The combination of cards and collecting and sorting and placing and everything's pretty simple. And everything that's not extremely simple has detailed instructions as to how they work. So, like, instantaneously, or a check mark, it happens instantly, or -1 to your hand. That's a symbol. It literally means -1 card to your hand. Or X means once you've used the key's ability, that's it, you can't use it anymore. As well as the infinite symbol means it lasts forever. So the keys are very, very self-explanatory. However, even if you do get them mixed up, they have, in the rulebook, they have actually every single key detailed, as well as a detailed explanation of every single symbol, the turn order, and all of the different item cards. So it makes the game very, very simple. The game is fun, it's very replayable, and there's tons and tons and tons of different keys and different abilities. The component quality is awesome. If you like games like Arkham Horror, as far as the quality is concerned, it's very, very similar in these type of cards. The little chits here, basically little crystals here, are really nice, really cool, just placing it on, and you feel like you're collecting these keys as you go throughout this mansion that you're trying to unlock, you know. So the game is really, really solid. I really, really enjoyed this game. I definitely think you guys will as well. I will give this game the Unfiltered Gamer stamp of approval. Whap! Alright guys, thanks for watching another Unfiltered Gamer card game review. If you like this game and you'd like to see more, go ahead and check the rest of our videos out here on YouTube. Also, remember, Sean Howard's Unlocked is currently on Kickstarter, but not for very much longer. I got the game a little later, so I want to make sure I can get this out just in time for the people, my audience, to see this. And if they are interested, go ahead and check out the comment section below, the little description below, and there will be a link to the Kickstarter. I think it's like 2 more days, so you better go do it now. Alright guys, if you like this content as well, check out unfilteredgamer.com, our site, where you can find tons and tons of giveaways, blog posts, a big Kickstarter list, and more. As well as checking out our affiliates, everythingboardgames.com, and The Giveaway Geek. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Look forward to seeing you next time.